So tonight, I wanted to share with you some thoughts, again, about what's going on in the world, what are we all here for, and trying to understand deeper what's our purpose in life, what are we here to do, and I think it all starts, as we know, with the beginning. If you want to know the symptoms, you got to go to find the root of the symptoms, and it all starts in Bereshit. Everything that happens in the world is because of what happened at the beginning. Like we say in Hebrew, Sof Maaseh Machshava Tchila, the final action, physical, material action, comes from what the first thought was. So that means that why are there so many problems in the world? Why is there so much pain in the world? Because at the beginning there was a trauma, and that trauma was a lack of love between a man and a woman, Adam and Eve. If Adam and Eve had known to love each other and to love each other, to trust each other, they would never have eaten from the fruit. Eve would have never have been alone without Adam. Adam would have never gave Eve, tell her not to touch instead of not to eat. And he would have known to name her from the beginning with that beautiful name Chava. So we see that all the problems in the world came because there was a lack of love, respect, and appreciation between a man and a woman. So, which leads us to really realize that everybody in the world who has problem with others comes from the pain, the love, the lack of love, the lack of respect that they receive from others. We are all in pain. There's something called historical trauma, and basically we are genetically and spiritually affected by whatever happened at the beginning and throughout all the years after. It didn't really get better, unfortunately. Avram, in a way, was the first one to really work on his marriage. You want to know what's so special about the Jewish nation, or at least what should be special about the Jewish nation? They will teach you how to be truly married, how to be truly loving, what a beautiful couple looks like when it's in harmony and love. As we know, throughout the past 2, 3, 4,000 years, even more, right? Femininity and women have always been exploited, second class, misused, and they were an object or a function of the pleasure or the desires of men, and unfortunately we see the world we are in today, it's all messed up. There's no more marriages. Whatever marriage there are, it's mostly divorce. There's no more love for the other sex. It's not love more for the same sex. So the whole love system, the structure of love, is completely disrupted, and we're suffering from a trauma of a lack of love. Avram and Sarah were the first one who started showing what a true love is. And the Jewish people, therefore, are supposed to be the role models of what true love is. Now, Judaism has also suffered, but whoever lived Judaism the proper way, you can go to any healthy couple in Judaism, the wife is extremely happy and feel extremely loved. Obviously, it depends on the husband. to treat his wife like a queen. In Judaism, the woman has always been, at least in ideology, the crown of her husband. She's the crown of her husband. Ateret Bala, we sing every Friday night. The role of the Jewish people is to bring back to the world the idea of what a true relationship can be. And by doing that, we will understand what it is to have a relationship of love with God, and what a relationship of love with God can be. Now, one of the challenge, so first of all, what we have to say is that from the moment you wake up in the morning until the time you go to sleep, your main focus is to learn to love others. And the ultimate challenge is to learn to love one's spouse. There's nothing more difficult. It is the greatest challenge. And a couple who doesn't work on their marriage, or a human being that doesn't work on loving others, meaning really working, not just, reading books, but actually practicing, interacting, reading books, going to seminars, learning science about the man and the woman and how relationships are supposed to work, communication skills, all the good stuff that is out there. Unless we do a real work, and it has to be hard. As we know, husband and wife is kenegdo, right? So there's going to be a tension. The woman is going to mirror all your bad traits, and the man is going to mirror the woman's bad traits. So there's going to be confrontation. But unless we work at that and we understand that all this is not supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be hard, but then there's no hope. There's no hope for a marriage to be a beautiful, amazing marriage. So there needs to be a lot of work. And that work is harder than making millions of dollars. It's harder than any type of career and endeavor you can imagine of, because that is the purpose. Whatever purpose is the greatest purpose, then that's where you're going to have the most effort to do. Now, there's something much deeper that we have to understand. That we're coming at the end of time, and therefore the issue of masculinity and femininity now is pushed to the extreme, because we have to fix that before the end. It's our last opportunity. In the next 100 years, hopefully we won't have that much time to wait, but to fix that. So number one, we have to work on our manhood and womanhood, and learn to respect, appreciate, and love the other gender. And second, we got to work also on a more spiritual level, global level. As a Jew is responsible to love the nations. Unfortunately, because of the historical trauma also, of all the persecutions, all that, there has been a hatred developed from the Jews against the nations. So we could say, yeah, it's the nation's fault, but the truth, no. Because in Kabbalah, on the deeper level, the Jews and the nation correspond to Adam. Adam, the first man. It's not the first man, the first humanity. Adam represents the souls of all the people in the world, of the Jews and the non-Jews. We all come from the same father and mother. So the fact that Adam and Eve were separated, Adam was Adam and Eve, really. Adam was male and female. There was a disconnect for those two to become one. So you have the male was represented then the Jewish people. The male energy represents the Jewish people, and the female energy represents the nation. A man without a woman is not a man. That's what Judaism says. All the goodness of the man comes through the woman. By making the woman happy and giving the woman what she needs, God provides to the man what he needs to give to her. He owes everything to his wife. If you think about it, if the world was made just of women, let's imagine, I think the world will be pretty perfect, almost perfect. Not completely perfect, because God didn't do it that way. But women are soft, women are understanding, women are loving, and it's really a much nicer world than the world of men with ego and fight and anger and jealousy and power and money. Right? The women have suffered so much from that. So the truth is that the job of the Jewish people is to learn to see and appreciate and love the non-Jewish world. The Jews are supposed to do that naturally. It should become natural as a consequence by working within their own nation, or loving each other, and in their own marriage. It all starts with the marriage. If the kids don't see love in the marriage, because the parents don't work at it, how do you expect the generations to be having a good heart and loving the other, and not hurting anyone else, and loving other nations, right? So, but it's always the man who has to initiate and bring out the good, so for the woman to be happy and to feel loved. So the Jewish people are supposed to initiate that love, ideally, and to show love. However, because of the whole trauma and anti-Semitism and all that, we have failed to look at it that way, so much so that a lot of Jews feel superior to the non-Jews, or with the chosen nation. Chosen nation doesn't mean you're better. It means you're given a specific mission that is unique, that might be a greater mission than the non-Jews, but it doesn't mean you're better. That's no. So a man has a greater mission to, go out and work, for example, right? And the woman has a greater mission, is greater than the man in bringing children and taking care of the kids. So each one has his own part where he's greater at, because that's his greatness. Doesn't mean he's better. A man is not better than a woman is not better than a man. And therefore, really what's happening is that at the end of time, we're going to see the fusion of the Jews and the non-Jews. Doesn't mean we're getting married, because we're not here to be married on the physical level. We're supposed to be married as nations, meaning a marriage where there's give and take out of love. I share what I have, and you share what you have. The Jewish people are supposed to give the light. That's why they represent the male energy into the nations of the world. We're here to give. We have the Torah, and our mission, our greatness, is to show the spirituality hidden in the world, to show that there's a God, to teach the Torah to the nations, to teach the world how it is possible to have a relationship of love with God, and together to come close to God, to create a world that can receive God's presence. And so we have to work at that. And the nations, and maybe many of you don't know, but the world is completely awakening. We know in the Kabbalah and many other places that the female energy power is going to be reawakened at the end of time, and they're going to bring men back to the straight path, so to speak. And that's what's happening. There are millions and millions of non-Jews today who learn Torah, who do even some mitzvot, and who do the 7 Noahide laws, and who believe that the Jews are the chosen people, and that the Torah is really from God, and they want to work with the Jews. They want to learn Torah, and they want to grow with the Jewish people. They don't need to convert. If they want, they can, but there's no need. And basically, the non-Jewish nations should act as a woman to the Jewish people, which is to guide them, to support them, to show them that they look up at the Jewish people. And the Jewish people are supposed to share their light and their love by teaching and giving them the understanding of who God is, or cannot know who God is, but what God wants, and what the Torah is saying on how to live the most beautiful relationship with God. So this is the real work of today. The world is collapsing little by little between corona, inflation, and all the other problems that exist in the world. At the end, we need to focus and to work really on what's truly essential, which is the love for another, but more specifically, the love between a man and a woman. Society has destroyed that whole structure. The media and all the movies and all the everything is destroying the family structure and what it means for a man and woman to truly love each other. And we have to fight it by working on our couple. So if you ask me what is the most important thing I should work on, is learn to understand what a man is, what a woman is, learn to appreciate each gender, and learn to work with your spouse and deal with all the problems. What does God do since He created the world? Is He bored? Is He doing anything? The Talmud says that since the world was created, the only thing that God does is making shiluchim, which is matching, is matchmaking. He's putting this soul with this soul, this man with this woman, this man with this woman. That's what God is busy. So therefore, we need to have bitachon, emuna, that God is putting this man or this woman with me for a specific purpose. Yes, this one is your soulmate. Oh, you're fighting with them? You're very different than them? Yeah, well, that's normal. That's what a marriage is supposed to be. You're not marrying yourself. You're marrying the part of you that you're missing. Men need to understand that they need their woman. They need their wife. If you say you need, it doesn't make you bad. You need God. You need your soul. You need your heart. And you need a woman. We're so afraid to need something today. We want to be independent. It's the danger of being a man. That's why God created a woman. It says it's not good for man to be alone because he thinks he's going to be like God, says Rashi. So we have to work on really accepting the work, the hard work, accepting the criticism, accepting what your wife tells you. Whenever there's therapy, 90% of the time is the woman dragging the man to therapy. Men always say, yeah, everything's fine. No, if the woman says she wants to go to therapy, that means it's not fine. So the men need to accept the hard work to do. And yes, it's hard because you're trying to become one with the opposite of you. But that opposite of you is yourself too. It's like trying to become one with the negative part of you that you hate about yourself. But you learn to accept and live with it, and you're working on it, right? Now, the wife is not the Yetzirah, but it represents that same concept that is something opposite of you, that is so different than you, so not what you would like, because it pushes you and in areas that you're not interested or that you don't want to deal with. So men have been escaping their true malehood by trying to control women and femininity. Instead, they have to surrender to the beauty and the greatness of femininity and the woman, and give them a chance to show us what we have to work on so that we can become soft like a woman, loving like a woman, emotional like a woman. We're not supposed to become women, but there are traits that the woman has that the man has to learn from, because that's going to be his work to change. The women also have their work to do. Learn to look up at the man, that is potential in the man, that they can make him great. And so too with the nations of the world. The nations of the world have to look up at Jewish people, understand that they are the true great nation to teach, that can teach them the light of the Torah, to bring harmony in the world. And in the same time, the Jewish people have to show true respect and love, and show the nation that we desire them to come close to God together. At the end of time, we're going to be all together. All the souls of Adam, the global consciousness is going to be united. All the nations with the Jewish people is going to become one. So much so that Chazal said there will be no more nations in Olam Haba. There will be just Israel. And everybody else will be attached to Israel. Like, it's like the woman takes the family name of a man, so she's called by the family name. So the Jewish people's family name is Israel, and all the nation will become also Israel. That's the feminine part. And that would be Adam, the complete Adam, male, female, reunited. Adam as one, Adam as male, female. Not as Adam and Chava. Chava would be in Adam, back together. And when we can do that, then we'll be able to be finally God's wife. We'll have understand what it is to be a woman, the greatness of the woman, the beauty of the woman. So we can be God's woman, God's wife. The feminine, the entity or the existence of a being that can receive from God and looks up at God and recognize God and love God back, and we don't look at ourselves as female, like a second-class citizen or inferior. No, God doesn't want us to feel inferior. He wants us to understand that all the good comes from Him, and we're lucky to have Him, and we can give Him love, reciprocate love, and there's nothing bad about that. Unfortunately, when we're in a position to receive, we feel inferior and negative. No, God created the world like that, and it's all good. Like we said, being a woman is perfect because that's what men want. God wanted. When He created the world, God created the woman, right? He created the ability to receive. So we are here to learn to be receivers from God. And all that shows up in our marriages. So this is the real work, my friends. We need to work hard and harder and even harder, especially the man. And the women have to help their husband do the work, but not complaining too much, by seeing that the man can become a good husband, by showing him softly, nicely how he can make her love. So it takes time, it's difficult, but that's what you're created for. That's the entire purpose. So if we're successful on that, we're going to bring Moshiach. That's what brings Moshiach more than anything else. So this is what I wanted to share with you all. And God willing, we should all create tremendous love and bring Moshiach.